Good morning, dear students. Welcome back. Now, in the previous lecture, we have seen about the flower and how we can define the flower. And we have seen the different parts of the flower, that is essential 4 whorls of the flower. And as you know that flower is what? It is a modified shoot responsible for reproductive structure of the angiospermic plants. Now, we have to study in detail sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now, as you have studied in the previous chapter, what are the events in the sexual reproduction? So that we have seen the 3 events are there: prefertilization, fertilization. Now, in the angiosperm, as you know that 2 male gametes are there, as you have studied in the 10th standard. The 2 male gametes are there, and 1 male will fuse with 1 egg cell, and other male will fuse with 2 polar nuclei. So, it will form food and seed simultaneously. So, this type of fertilization is known as double fertilization. Now, this double fertilization we will see later in detail. So, third event is what? Post-fertilization. So, the 3 events we have to study each of them in detail. The first is before fusion of male and female gametes, we have to study pre-fertilization. We have to prepare the gametes before it fuses. To prepare the gametes means what? In pre-fertilization, we have to study about gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Then double fertilization and then post-fertilization. Post-fertilization means what? Zygote formation and the embryogenesis. Now, first we will study about the pre-fertilization event. Now, in the pre-fertilization event, first I told you what? The formation of the gametes should be there. If the gametes are there and gametes is transferred, then only the fusion will take place. Okay, the formation of gametes is known as what? Gametogenesis. Now, there will be 2 gametes in the angiosperms. That is, one is male gamete, which is known as what? Pollen grain formation. And second one is what? Embryo sac formation, that is a female gamete. So, these 2 will come under gametogenesis. Next is what? Pollination. Now, as you know, what is meant by pollination? The transfer of anther. The transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the flower, that is known as pollination. So here we are talking about what? After formation of the gametes, the transfer of the gametes to reach to the egg cell, that is known as what? Pollination. Okay. Then after pollination, what happens? The pollen grain will stick on the stigma. Okay, so when it stick on the stigma, what the stigma will do? It will secrete the chemical through which the pollen tube will be formed. And this pollen tube will just pass through the style and reach at the micropylar end of the ovary. So this interaction is known as what? Pollen pistil interaction. Pistil means what? Pollen interaction with the female part of the flower. Okay, so this pollination and the pollen pistil interaction we will study in the gamete transfer. Okay, now first we will take here the first event, your first step in the pre-fertilization, that is pollen grain formation. So first we will study how the male gametophyte is formed, then we will still study how female gametophyte is formed. Okay, so first we will study the pollen grain formation. Now, as you know that how the pollen grain will form, it will form from the male organ. Now, which is the male organ in the flower? That is stamen. Okay. Now, this stamen, so in that first we will study about the stamen, about the male organ and which part it's contained. Okay. Now, in the male part, there will be what? Formation of what? The male gametes. That is known as what? Microsporogenesis. Okay, and after microsporogenesis, each microspore will converted into pollen grains. Okay, so here 3 steps we'll study. First, we'll study about the male organ. Then we'll study about that in male organ, how the mother cells will produce the microspores. Therefore, it is known as microsporogenesis. And after microspore formation, each microspore at the time of the release when the anthers mature, okay, so they will release in the form of the pollen grain. So the first step we'll study now go towards the male organ of the flower, that is stamen. Okay, now in this stamen, you can see this diagram. Now in this stamen, you can see there are 2 parts, main parts are there. Okay, stamen can also be known as androecium. Okay, that we have discussed earlier. Now in stamen, this part is known as the anther. and the long slender stalk-like structure is known as the filament. Now the proximal part of the filament is attached to where? Thalamus portion of the flower, and the terminal part of the filament is attached to where? It is to the anther. Now in the anther you can see it is what? Two lobes you can see here. So anther can be a single lobe, it can be a two lobes. If it is a each lobe is always known as theca. So if it is a single lobe it is known as monothecous, and if it is a double lobe it is known as dithecous. So in the diagram how many lobes you can see? You can see here two lobes. Therefore this anther is what? Dithecous. And if only single lobe is there and no division is there, that is known as what? Monothecous. The monothecous, if you want to see, you can see in a common flower that you use, that is a hibiscus flower. Okay, that is also known as China rose. Okay, so in the hibiscus flowers, when you see the anther part, it is just a single lobe. Okay, therefore it is known as monothecous. In the brinjal flower, you can see the dithecous. Okay, the thecous word is clear to you. Two lobes, each lobe is known as thecous. Now each lobe of the anther is connected. Okay, it should be connected by some connection. So it is connected by a tissue which is known as connective. Okay, the filament is attached to the anther. Anther is having two lobes, and these two lobes are connected with each other by a tissue called what? Connective. Okay, now this is about the what? Anther. Now there are different shapes of anther, okay, and number of the anther and the length of the anther also vary. In some it is very small. If you can see in the rose, very small anthers are there. If you see in the sunflower also, very small anthers are there. Okay, if you see in the hibiscus flower, lily flower, the length of the filament is very much longer. Okay, so number and the length of the stamen, okay, varies depends upon the different types of the flower, in which area they are found, in which type of environment they are found. Due to the adaptations they follow. Okay, so now there are different types of the anthers seen generally. Okay, so which different types are seen generally in all the flowers? So some shaped are what? It is just a one single locule is there. Okay, that is known as what? Unilocular. A single lobe. Okay, it is a unilocular. Okay, if it is like a linear, okay, linear shape. Okay, so this if it is a straight line like this, okay, then it is known as a linear shape. Then if the anther is having two round structure, it is known as rounded. In the rounded structure, if there is some cross network, that is known as sagittate. Okay, and if it is having a comb-like structure, it is known as sinus. And if it is having a lotus-like petals, that is known as appendiculate. Okay, so different shapes of the anthers are found in different flowers. As for example, already I have given here that unilocular is found in what? Hibiscus flower. Okay, then if we talk about linear, it is found in the Ecalpha. Okay, and if we talk about the rounded, it is found in the Mercularis. Sagittate, vinca. Vinca is what? You have seen the pink color small flower which is known as a periwinkle flower. Okay. So in that periwinkle flower, if you see the anthers, it is just a sagittate anthers. Okay. Then sinus is there. It is a peculiar shaped appearance as seen in the cucurbits. Okay. And appendiculate, it is seen in the erica. So at least one example you have to remember about all the shapes of the anther found. Okay. Now different attachment of the anther with the filament. How the anther is attached to the filament. Okay, what is the position of the anther on the filament? If there is a filament, it is anther. Okay, so if the anther is attached from the basal part, that is known as what? Basifixed. If the anther is attached, okay, very much strongly from the dorsal side, it is known as dorsifixed. If the anther is attached on the sides of the filament, that is known as adnate. And if the anther is freely movable, okay, it is free movable also, it is attached dorsally also, then it is known as what? Versatile. Okay, so here you can see attached sideways, it is known as adnate. You can see here basal part is attached, top ports part is free, it is known as basifixed. And if you can see a dorsal part, it is dorsifixed, and you can see it is a free, okay, attached from only middle side section, it is known as what? Versatile. So these are the different attachment of the anthers with the filament. Now till now we have seen about the stamen, about the anther and the filament, dithecous and monothecous, connective, different shapes of the anther and attachment of the anther with the filament. Now in the next lecture we'll study the second step, that is microsporogenesis. So here we complete about the stamen, that is the first step of the pollen grain formation. Okay, thank you.